the game is running. So without further ado, we shall open up this box here. Thanks for joining me last night, guys, for the Tron stream. Was a good time, and I think Not a Flying Toy, you had left before, somewhere in the middle or a little bit later part of the night. I did eventually get to Portal, and I put that game up as a highlight game, so you can see it either as a highlight on my Twitch or a highlight on my YouTube. Alright, in addition, I also got, before I open this box completely, I got the inside decals as well. I am a fan of some of the, of putting some extra inside decals, whether it's mirror blades or some form of decal on the inside. I won't be installing these today because you really are better off having a second pair of hands handy for installing these. So it's not the kind of thing I want to install and do improperly. So I will unbox these first to give anybody else some extra time to get in the room before the unboxing of the topper. But we'll have a quick look at these first. So rolled up vinyl inserts. They feel very good, not just feeling like more or less a straight up sticker decal, but more of a stronger surface sticker decal. They managed to stick the Game of Thrones logo and HBO logo here in the bottom corner. But certainly that will most likely guarantee you won't be able to see that once this is installed anyway. So this would be the inside left side here. I of course got the set that better matches the LE with the more desert appearance that goes for Targaryen. And then on the inside right side, a mix of some blue on the back side, which will blend in with where basically the playfield starts to switch over from being more brown and starts to go to blue as it gets towards the further back side of the playfield. So those are those guys. Back just has normal cover on it to be peeled off. There is a pre-punched hole here for where the cabinet bolts are placed, so that is good. And there you go. Not too much to say there, not very exciting, but hey, figured I would show those off first. Hopefully if I get someone available to come over at some point, I can get these guys installed. Never really always a fun time getting them installed, always a little bit, actually let's roll these both together. Always a little bit scary since it's kind of a you better not screw up while you're doing it type situation. Alright, roll these guys up and we will get to unboxing the topper. Save that for later. Alright, so right off the bat you can see that they already have a fill inflated foam cover to protect the top of it. Let me double check how good is the not too bad. You can see in the box pretty good. And I'll just try to lift it straight up and out. baggie with connector and instructions. Move the box out of the way. Set the top down. Some of this is just falling out of the way, and we'll try to find where we can open this thing up cleanly. All right. Appears to be rolled in the bag here a little bit. All right. Enough of that. Let's get into it. How's it going, Woof Woof? Welcome to the Game of Thrones topper unboxing / install. Figure somebody might enjoy this rather than me doing it by myself, and no one getting to see. Okay, one layer done, and there we go. Dragging in the open, and still has foam from underneath, so let's try to get under here and lift him out. All right. So I also have the Walking Dead topper from Stern, and one thing that I've noticed on both of them, they come with this basically metal plate base which mounts to the top of the machine, which is actually really nice. I like that a lot. Certainly makes it feel like it's on there solid and that it's built to be installed on the machine itself. So it already has all the preset holes, has a cover here for hiding any of the cables coming out of it. And there's the front there. Dragon appears to be pretty similar looking to that of what is on the machine already, just quite a touch bigger. See if I can get you. Let me make sure I can give you a good view of this thing. Give you a 360 shot. So there's the front. You've got the 7 house sigils on the front, logo, dragon looking over. From the back, you can see motor here, which I'm sure is controlling the flapping motions. Cable going straight into the back bottom of the dragon, which I'm sure is for the light in his mouth. Flapping motion there, which is spring return. And then the lights underneath the front here to light up coming up towards the dragon, which I'm sure there's lights then behind the different houses themselves. Underside just has the cables coming in through there. So now that we got him out of the box, let's take a look at the install instructions and get this puppy on there. Comes with one cable here, which serves for attaching for power. One RJ45 8-pin mod inline coupler straight for connecting this cable. One zip tie and one set of instructions. How to remove the topper. Well, if I hadn't figured that out already, I probably wouldn't even gotten to the instructions, but that's great. Next step. Remove 4 screws and 1 hole plug in top of the back box. Save those parts for later. So I'll have to get into the back box here in a minute. Let's just skip ahead a touch. Set got topper on the top of the back box. Push the 3 cables through the cable hole, which is the plug that's on the top. Secure the topper of the back box with the screws are removed in step 2. Store the capped screw in a secure place in case I remove the topper. A great place to put that would be inside the coin box. Topper secured to back box. Remove screws, reinstall screws with topper on. Just that easy. And now the wire harness kit. And then there's an overall picture of it. So let's get started with the topper install onto the top of the machine. Seems like a good place to start. So I'm gonna re-aim this at the machine. That way you have multiple angles for no necessarily good reason. Yes, the Dragon's supposed to move. Things I've read on Pinside is that other people who've installed the Dragon so far, it will move during Castle Multi-Ball and Targaryen mode, kind of probably in line with when the Dragon on the playfield moves, but it's not moving in a track mode yet. So most likely it sounds like that is a code related thing where they just don't have it installed into the code yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it would be popping in the next update whenever that comes through. So, especially since the last update was before the toppers were shipped out. Alright, first thing first, we got to take the back glass off. Key is, I keep my key inside the door. Realistically, I probably should be doing this with the power off. If I get to the point where the wiring harness is going on, I will most likely turn the power off. So unlock that up at the top there, and then it's safe for me to remove the back glass, which I will set safely away from myself. Just to keep it safe. Alright, how terribly bright is that for everybody? Not the worst thing ever. No brighter than the outside for you guys, but yeah, that is pretty bright. Alright. We're going to turn that off. That's a little too bright for me, with it being right in my eyes. Okay, so more or less going to get up to the top here. Just double check what kind of screws this thing has up here. Phillips head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that guy there. We can pop him out. That came out real quick, so I don't end up streaming myself falling off of a chair. I'll try to be careful about that. And before I misplace this, put this right into the coin box, so it will be there forever. All right. It just wants me to remove 4 screws, not necessarily all 8. Let's see here. Looks like it wants the 4 outside screws, the ones that are going to match those 4 outside holes. And it looks like there's holes in the topper to accommodate the other screws so that it's able to still sit flush. So let's see, where's my toolbox? Right here. Phillips head screwdriver. Remove the 4 screws in question. One, doesn't hurt to be wearing a hoodie with a center pouch for when you're doing something like this, as it's a great place to store things like small screws. And we're just going to reach across here. Three. And 4. Wipe any little debris off the top here so it sits smooth. Put that back in the pouch. Step on down. Turn that sideways to keep myself a touch safer. Alright, now time for the topper to go up. And basically we're going to stuff these cables through that hole there at the top, which I might want to be on the other side for that. So let's do that first. We'll switch over to the other side. It'll be a lot easier to reach through and move those cables through. One nice thing about having 4 machines on this wall rather than 5 is it gives me that extra space between the machines to be able to do things like this without having to pull the machine out separately or do anything like that. I can just kind of work on it right away. Slide the topper up. Go get up there with it. And work on getting these cables through one at a time. Cable 1. Cable 2. And cable 3. Now it can sit flush. Holes are there to kind of actually hold it in place for me with the other screws, which is a little nice. Now reinstall the 4 screws in question, which I removed before. One. Loosen this one up just a touch, just to make sure there's enough slack for me to get these other ones in. Having a little trouble lining up this back one. Gotta find the right spot for it. There we go. There we go. Not tighten them down all the way until I've got all 4 in. So leave a little bit of slack. Alright, move over to the other side. So I'm not having to reach across. How's it going, water polo? Yeah. You know, I kind of wish that, I mean, there's Metallica toppers out there. I've been tempted to get pretty much the one that is more or less available that I've seen. but it's never really, can't say I've ever really seen it overly available for sale, but I want to say maybe Laserific does have it available if I were to contact them. The one, I believe, where it's got the grave markers and the snake on it. But yeah, Metallica is the lone one with no topper, which is sad. Alright, these two went in no problem. Tighten these two down. Reach over here. Tighten this guy down. You know, I probably wouldn't have minded if Stern would have decided to come up with a official topper for Metallica, especially since were doing up that last rerun and they've kind of gotten into the topper business. More than likely, especially if they had Dirty Donnie associated with it, I guarantee that they would have me sold for one, but kind of waited long enough that it's almost guaranteed that ain't going to happen anytime soon, that's for sure. Alright, so topper installed. Now we just got to do the wiring. So steps 1, 2, 3, 4, all set. Step 5, Game of Thrones topper kit wiring harness installation. Kit contains 1 topper, 1 coupler, and 1 power extension cable. Power extension cable, check. Coupler, check. How's it going, Tech Guy 4? Is it hard to, when did I get Game of Thrones? I got this Game of Thrones, right, what was it? It was pretty much the week after Thanksgiving or something like that, I think. But I've had it for maybe about 2 months, I guess. Hey, Justino, how's it going? Is it hard to install one when you get a new table, or easy steps? Well, that's what we're trying to find out here today. I installed the Walking Dead topper without too much of a problem, so I didn't expect this to be difficult in any way. And so far, getting that topper installed on there, it's got 3 cables on the right side, and there's a hole already built into the top. Just pop a plug out, send the cables through. You remove 4 screws and then put the topper up top, put 4 screws back in, and it's already in place. I would think they would sell a lot of Metallica toppers, especially if, like I said, if Dirty Donnie wasn't involved, it would probably look amazing. So far everything's been easy. Now we're getting to the wiring part. Drop the cables from the topper through the hole located on the top right side of the back box. Check. Plug the RJ45 coupler into either one of the 40 RJ45 coupler into either one of the RJ45 cables coming from the topper. Plug the power extension cable to the power cable coming from the topper. Alright. So either one of these, we got 2 RJ45 cables. We're just going to plug the extension onto one of them, like it said. And here's the power cable. We're going to plug the extension in there. Alright. Just that easy so far. Unplug the RJ45 cable from the CPU CN3 connector, cable node board connection, and plug it into the RJ45 coupler. Alright, CN3 connection. So on here there's 2 RJ45 connectors. On the right side, this one says CN22. This one here says CN3. So we're going to unplug CN3 and plug it into the coupler. Click. No problem. And I'm sure I already know what it's going to say. Plug the second RJ45 cable coming from the topper into the when I adjust the CN3 that I just unplugged. No problem. And boom. Plugged it in. Okay. Plug the other end of the power extension cable to CN7 of the power distribution board. So plug this into CN7. CN7 is called out right here, power connector. Where does it want me to plug this in at? That's a good question. All right, let me go take a look at the picture here. That is step 5. It looks like it's calling out next to Alright, now we're starting to get a touch confused. Okay, plug the other end of the extension cable, CN7 over the power distribution board. Which is going to be considered the power distribution board. Actually, so there's a block diagram here. Power distribution board is on the bottom right. So what I'm looking there is the CPU board. So we're going to have to remove this guy, which means I got to take this camera off for the meantime, and we'll set it here. And just to keep things nice, let's see. Sound cutting out. Sound is good. Haven't had an issue with sound. Sounds okay here. Sounds like Justino that is coming from you. Although I don't really have a lot of audio in this room other than me talking. So I can't say you're missing a whole lot. So setting a little blanket down first. Tuck this cable in here for just a moment. And lift and bring this guy out. Let's see here. So, power distribution board. There's a power distribution board. I can probably use this guy. So there's your back box total. It's a little far away for me to see exactly what I'm doing here, but more or less block diagram here telling you what the different boards are. And right over here is the power distribution board. So we're going to zoom in on that. And in the bottom left, there is a connector for CN7. And just to look closer, I can't really tell if it's saying CN7 or not, to be perfectly honest. But what I can say is that the picture on the instructions here basically calls out that specific connector next to those 3 large capacitors, and that's certainly what we're looking at there. So, simply enough, set that down, and power connection here. Can only fit in one way since they aren't circular, and boom, clicks right into place. Those 2 cables are there. We can most likely just zip tie all that together so it kind of stays nice and tucked. Let's see here. Probably zip tie it right there, and then we'll zip tie again over here. So let's do that so everything looks nice and clean. They included a white zip tie, but I have a little baggie of my own mini zip ties. Topper seems nice, wondering if the houses light up on it. To my knowledge, the houses should light up, and they should be associated with the same status as the, I don't know what camera to look at. They should be lighting up and associating with the same status that the houses on the game are at. So in theory, they should flash if they're started, say solid if it's complete, and then hopefully some drag and movement on top of it. So And hopefully code updates in the future will only improve that going forward. So, got snips and some mini zip ties here, so let's make this look nice. One, that third cable in there, two, and we'll run this up to this corner here. Three. All right. Snips. One, two, three. All right. That part's done. Throw the excess away. Let's see here. Anybody in the room that I don't really know? Not really updating a whole lot. All right. So let's see here. Tech Guy, is this a Pro version? It is an LE version. Address the wiring harness neatly with the existing cable clamps. Or, I guess, do what I did and use some zip ties. Alright, that is the last step. Installation complete. Extra zip tie here. I will throw it in the baggie of zip ties. Goes back into my little box. And just in case anybody is wondering, I ended up going to, this is just a Rubbermaid box that I got from Target. And it's got one of the kind of inside corner dividers out. And the rest of it, more or less, I just keep any of my main tools in here that I tend to use often. Titan's little box of palm definitely in there. Small little pick set for reaching certain things if the time comes up. Magnetic nut drivers and a pair of scissors, a pair of snips, wrench, and a set of Phillips screwdrivers with magnetic tips. It is a great way to just simplify, because in the past this thing I had it full of like all my tools, but realistically I only use a certain number of them a majority of the time. So I kind of simplified it. It keeps it nice and orderly, and it sits nicely on top of any of the, I don't know if you can see it in any of those images there. Yeah, like down here. I have a bunch of these also storage boxes there. Those aren't filled with pinball stuff, but the ones on the other side I do have filled with my excess pinball stuff. And they sit nicely underneath the machine, which is a great way to store stuff so it's not really visible. And this sits perfectly on top of one of those, which I keep in between these two machines in the center. So nice, quick, easy access. Also magnetic grabber, also sits nicely on the side of the box edge there. All right. Hey, Dragon 240, welcome to the topper installation. Have not seen you in the room before, so glad to have you joining us. All right, so now we're ready to put this back in. Actually, you know what? While I've got this open, I will show off one more thing. I did this for this game, and I did it for Walking Dead as well. When I first got them in, they're the first ones I've had with the newer Stern metal speaker boards. And one thing I noticed, especially probably because I have a shaker motor in it, it wasn't really super tight fit on the spokes that it hooks onto. So I wrapped, I don't know how well this shows up, but I wrapped the spokes with one layer of felt, thin felt tape, one-sided tape, on both of them, and more or less it adds a nice little cushion and tightness for it. So when I go to install this, it kind of goes on there a lot tighter and with no shake or slop in it. So sits in there real nice. I did it on Walking Dead as well because the same design, same thing. So I was pretty happy with how that turned out. All right, take that off. We can slap that back on there. Thank you, tech guy. It's taken me a long time to get to the collection that I have right now. I've been through a lot of very good machines, and some machines that I'd have back again, some machines that I probably wouldn't necessarily need to have back again, but yeah, just continually traded, sold, upgrade, and over a few years kind of narrowed in more on machines that I found to have as keepers that have stayed longer and kept me more interested in playing. So, all right, I think we're ready to test it out. So I'm not going to turn the back glass or put the back glass. Probably. You know what? I probably should. Let me do that. I don't think I'll need to go in there and do anything with. Actually, I probably will. All right, we're going to turn it on without the back glass because I should end up with some kind of node board issue, I guess. We'll see what happens. He's flapping up there. And the guys are like, let's see how well can you see that with all that light in the way. You can see it a little bit, although there's a lot of... What machine would I not buy again? I'd have to take a look at my list of machines that I've owned. It'd probably be easier to say what machines I would probably have back again. I'd certainly have Revenge from Mars back again. I would have Creature from the Black Lagoon back again. Let's see here. So his little face here was kind of popping a little bit. So this head part's a bit loose, but it's just basically rubberized and held on there, and it's kind of covering up some stuff. So we can adjust that a little bit, since he was popping around some. But the lights are going on there. Let's see if we can pop the glass off and force some stuff to happen.
What are you looking at?
See, machines that I've had that I probably wouldn't necessarily need to have back again if I had to think about some of them though, off the top of my head. Although I never really had it working. I had a Phantom of the Opera. I probably wouldn't need to have that back again. I had a Getaway High Speed 2. I would have one of those back again. That was a good time. Let's see here. So let's say we want to start.
Choose your house.
Start a game.
House Baratheon. House Lannister.
That is awfully loud.
Hear me roar!
Bring that volume down. All right. So right off the bat, you can see that. You can see that the House Lannister is flashing up on top. which goes along with this. Let's get Mark.
Lock is lit.
Let's light Martel. And then eventually light up there. There it goes, Martel lit on the left side. Probably just easier to hit with the flipper.
Ball 1 locked.
So we'll start Martel mode.
With that drifter, you don't get a name like that unless you're deadly, right?
So it's lighting up solid there because I'm in the mode, and Lannister's no longer flashing. So right now it's telling you what modes are actually active, which is kind of cool. That was a little dangerous. So now let's finish off Martel mode so that you can see that it will go solid when it goes out, which I would assume it will. Center ramp. That'll finish that out. It goes back up top to Martel being solid, and Lannister will pass. And Lannister back to flashing. So let's do the Targaryen. Actually, let's do this up here. That was terrible. We'll light up another one. So Baratheon's now flashing up there. So there we go, castle. And finish that. Archers, let's get to castle multi-ball, and we'll test that out. And finish off breach. Let me move one of these cameras a bit closer so you guys can see a little bit better as it does a ball search. So you can see the dragon with the other one, and I probably should put that back glass back in because it's awfully bright without it. Let it do a super loud ball search for you. Alright. So there we go. So you can see, let's get a closer because we can. It doesn't know where the ball's at. We'll end this ball. We got another ball. Let's see here. Dragon topper action there. Getting close. Need to aim it more up. Am I going to set it up as tournament mode or regular default mode? I have all my machines set up as regular default mode. I don't have them set up as tournament mode. If I were holding a tournament, I would consider doing that, but since I don't really have people around here where I would be setting up, I've really set up a regular tournament before here. I haven't came across that. If I had a tournament going on, yeah, I would probably put it in tournament mode. But for just home play for myself, I enjoy the non-standardness of regular default mode versus tournament mode. All right. So let's get castle multi-ball underway. Dragon there, it's flapping. One more, and it should start castle. Dragon flapping up top. Light going off. Mouth is not currently lighting up. Let's see if we can hold this multi-ball from dying out. One ball save on Dragon. Shoot Castle Dragon Shots, super jackpot value 5 million. Boom. The dragon is just continually flapping right now. Boom. Boom. And it wants a center shot. Oh. Castle multi-ball super jackpot. What if I hit this castle loop here? Castle loop award 100,000. Loop award. All right, so the loop's just given 100,000. And right now, basically all that's happening is we're getting dragon flap action during this multi-ball from the dragon on top. And we're getting similar dragon flap action down here as well. So there you go. That's where the code is at right now. If I can reposition his head a little bit. Kind of moves along with the flapping a little bit as it just kind of sitting there. Gives them a little bit. Alright, it's just going to keep going like that forever. So we'll let those dry. Does Tabletop's latest software version? Nice lighting effects, looks good. The table, when I first got it, it had 1.01 software on it. They're up to 1.21 software now. Basically, whenever they release software, in the back there, when I had the back glass off, you can see a, I can talk to this camera. You can see that there would, if you knew where to look, you would see that there is a USB slot on the board itself. Basically, you just load the code onto a USB stick, put the USB stick in there, and turn the game on with it installed, and it will know to look on the USB stick to see if there's something there. And basically, it'll say, hey, you've got code on there. Would you like to install it? You hit yes, installs the code, and boom, you're updated to whatever code you just installed. So overall, it's not tough to update new code when it comes out. So far, looks like all the lights for the houses are lighting up appropriately, which is nice. Dragon was flapping when he was supposed to. Let's hit some Targaryen shots, and although I'm sure I can suspect what'll happen is that it's just going to make him flap. But let's have a look. So I gotta hit it 3 times to light the Targaryen house. Get my Lord of Light going just in case the ball wants to drain on me and I can't catch it. One more. Lord of Light working out. Ball come back down to me. Alright. So Targaryen is lit, which is in the center there, flashing like it should. Let's go for a center shot. Actually, I could probably just do this. Ball 2 lock. Choose my battle. Let's go Targaryen. So he's flapping up there, along with this guy flapping down here. Now what's interesting is I've got, okay, no, I got Martell lit red because, so yeah, Martell is completed. Let's see, he wants that shot. Now he wants an orbit. He's flapping. And now we're going to hit Targaryen shot to finish out the first Targaryen dragon. And he's still flapping. He's done flapping now that Targaryen mode's over. And we're back to flashing guys up here. Basically, it's going to flash for anything that's active if you're in a mode. Yeah. If you're in a mode, it will show you what's either been completed or what is currently active by keeping it lit. And when you're out of a mode, it flashes and keeps them solid for anything you haven't completed yet. Let's go into the options menu real quick and have a quick look to see what kind of options they have for the dragon, if there is any. Enter my initials. Lannister champion. We don't want to put any fake initials in there. Alright. Dragon 240. What are some of my favorite tables, if you don't mind asking, of course. Also, Lord Squeak, thanks for joining us. Okay, so turning the machine on. Dragon is flapping immediately there on startup. The other question is he going to flap during his own in attract mode? Everybody says that's not the case. Also, other people are having node issues. I have not seen that so far, but let's see what happens if I go in here. Says I've got view tech alerts. Check node board 12, version mismatch, 1 of 3. Check switch D9 left flipper button. All right. And left upper flipper button. Awesome. Well, there is no left upper flipper. Oh yeah, there is. What am I talking about? This guy here. So we can check those real quick, and then that node could be what they were talking about with node mismatch. So we might run through that as well. Some of my favorite tables right now, my top 3 favorite tables are 3 that I own. Tron, Metallica, and Walking Dead. I'd say are my top 3. Based on how I'm feeling at the time and what I'm playing, any one of them could be anywhere in those top 3. Last night I was playing some Tron, and I would say Tron was number 1 for one of the games I was having. But they all play differently enough, and they provide their own kind of feel to them that right now I kind of enjoy them all equally based on what's going on. So let's see here. Let's start by doing a diagnosis switch test. Left flipper works, upper flipper works. Usually, if you ever have a tech alert where you have a switch alert of some kind, going into switch test and making the switches will clear the alert. And being as I was just playing and I didn't hit that left flipper button at all, it was probably thinking that it could possibly be a problem going out with it because it hit so many other switches. And I've never used the left flipper while I was playing, so it was kind of probably bring it up. So if we go back, service menu, tech alerts, now 1 of 1. Those 2 are cleared out because I hit them, made the switches work during the switch test. So all we got left is check node board 12 version mismatch. There was a portal, indeed portal. We got there last night, and it was great. Except for the fact that the mode itself lasted like 10 seconds, and I got like no points for it. Other than that, it was great. So somebody's already got some instructions they got from Stern on how to clear that node board 12 mismatch. So let's run through that now. Step 1, game off, unplug 1 network cable in the back box. This should be the cable not going to the topper. It should be the one going to the playfield that you disconnect. Alright, so game off. Let's start there. We got to take this back out again, which means I need to unlock it. Now, I just mentioned what my top 3 tables are, at least as of right now, being Tron, Metallica, Walking Dead. I do enjoy a lot of other machines. Right now I do own mostly Sterns, but I certainly enjoy a lot of other machines other than just that. I just happen to own mostly Stearns at this point because that's what I wanted at the time, and they are in my house, and they're at a point where I wouldn't be ready to swap them out to something else. One nicer thing about having newer machines is, at least for me, if you've got a newer machine that's already running well and it's not having problems, then it tends to be easier to maintain and it kind of stays in better working fashion. But all machines break, all machines can have problems. I've got a Johnny Mnemonic, which has been great for me, hasn't really given me much of any problems, but I've had plenty of older machines which have given me plenty of problems that from various points. So, all right, back to what we're doing here. Disconnect this guy here. No problem. Let's aim this camera up a little bit so we can go back to seeing what I'm doing. Instructions say next, turn game on. It should update all node boards connected. It will fail to talk to the playfield after a while and tell you to cycle power. Turn game off. Plug network cable back in. Turn game on. Enjoy Flappy Dragon. Alright, so we're going to turn it on and it's going to yell at us eventually to turn the game back off. But Dragon, if you're interested in trying to find tables to try out, updating node board, runtime, update successful, let's see here. Best way is to try to find stuff that's local to you. If you can't find stuff that's local to you to play, look on Pinside. If there's no local place to play, Flap and Dragon, update failed, please cycle power game. So turn off game. Plug cable back in, turn game on. So plugging back in, check, turn game on. One other means of trying out tables, Pinball Arcade is fantastic for that. I just immediately went into everything being fine. Alright, now let's see if the tech alerts. No tech alerts present, node board issue resolved. So right now, what we've got is a working topper, lights work, flapping works. Flapping works pretty much as it would seem right now, only during Targaryen and during Castle Multiball modes. Dragon Mouth Light currently is not doing anything, which I'd assume is based on around code and will most likely become something that will appear in the future. And just kind of have to wait that one out. But